Hi everybody, welcome to this latest video where I'm going to show you how I identify areas of high yield. Why yield? What is of interest when it comes to yield? Well, I find a lot of people are preoccupied with return on investment, so they find a property, they stack a deal, try and work out what sort of return on the investment they're going to get. But there's a step before that, which is identifying an area and a property type that you should be investing in. Now, to do that, you can't really do an ROI on an entire area. So we have to use a different measure. And that measure that we use, and I use, is yield. Yield in its most simple form is the total amount of rent that a property will deliver over a year. So whatever the monthly rent is, multiplied by 12, divided by whatever the purchase price is of a property. Now, there's an average price for every area in the UK, every postcode area, and there's an average rent for every area in the UK. It's hard to access. That data is not commonly available, but you can get it on Ultimate Property Dashboard. And I'm going to show you how I can interrogate that data and get information about where you should be looking to invest. So let's give this a go. You can see here I'm in heat map, the second option in Ultimate Property Dashboard, and I'm going to measures that I'm looking at here. I'm going to look for yield, and I'm going to focus on 2-bedroom properties just to keep it nice and simple for this example. And I want to know where the best yields are for 2-bedroom properties in the whole of the UK. So I can run that report, and you can see I now get a heat map which shows me what the typical yield is across the UK. And you can see some areas are more yellow, which means that the yield is lower, and some areas are more red, which means the yield is higher. Okay, so and I can see those different postcode areas, which is nice to know. Yeah, and this is commonly where people go, commonly the information that people will get. So people will focus in on perhaps the northwest, which we can do here, and focus on that area, and then you'll get a heat map showing those different parts of the northwest and what sort of yields we can expect in those areas. And as you can see, just along the M62 corridor there, we've got quite high yields. But that's not really enough. Wouldn't it be great if you go deeper again? So yes, we know that the M postcode, Manchester, is a 6% yield area, which isn't bad in the current market. But let's click on that and drill in. So this is drilling into the M postcode now, and I can now see, if I zoom in a little bit more, the different postcode areas and which ones have got more or less yield, or higher or lower yields. And you can see we've got some quite low yielding areas where properties are probably more expensive in that area, so that means that the average yield is lower. And then you've got these quite a lot of red areas where the yields are quite high, sort of well over 7%. So I'm sure I saw an 8%. There we go, 8% yield in M46. So if I'm targeting Manchester, the next question is, well, where in Manchester are you targeting? Which part of Greater Manchester are you targeting? So again, there you can see I can drill right in, and if I wanted to, I could also pull in an adjacent postcode. So I could pull in the BL postcode there as well, and apply that, and that'll bring in even more information for me. So you can see there we've got the BL postcodes as well, but M46 still looks to be one of the best. So what I would do next is I would add that to area research. Why would I do that? Why would I add that to area research? Well, because I need to know more detail. Again, I want to get down to street level. Now, I've already done that, so I've got a little warning at the top of the screen then. But let's go to area research. Okay, so I've just added that to my area research, and you can see there's the second one down. You can see straight off the bat there's really good demand in this area, and understandably so. It's a good yielding area, yeah? It's understandable at the time of recording this. But I want to go deeper again. So let's go into the for M46. Now, this is where I get frustrated when people say, oh, I've done my due diligence on an area. Well, have you? Because I don't know this area. I've never been to it. I've never driven through it. I do not know it. I don't invest in this area. But yet, I know that it's a high demand. I know that it's a high yield area. I've just seen that there's high demand in this area. But I also know at street level what the prices are. So you can see I've got this scale, 95,000 to roughly sort of just under 200,000. Color coded, so the more expensive it gets, the more towards the red it goes. So green is sort of middle of the road, yellow and red is more expensive, blue is cheap. So as you can see, right in the center of town there, some cheap properties on roads. Yeah, so we've got the blue dots, they're cheap, and the red dots, they're expensive. That's for 2-bedroom properties to buy. Now, I can also flip that around to rental. So I can now see what sort of rents we're getting in this area. Now, isn't that a talent story? Look at that. So even though the centre is quite cheap to buy relative to the other locations in the area, good. We've got a 925. We've got a 995. So the rents are high in a low purchase price part of town. That's not that will need to balance itself out. That will change in future. But right now, that's an opportunity. That imbalance is your opportunity. So think about what we've just done there. We've looked at the whole of the UK. We've found a high yielding location within a region. We found the highest yielding postcode area in that region, and we've just the area down to street level and know that optimally, if I just zoom in a little touch, let me just move my screen down a little bit. I know that I really need to be buying on this bit just off Bolton Road near High Street is a good rental area. So that's an area where I'm looking to target. And actually, I could actually do my property search here as well if I went back to the listings for sale. These are live listings, so none of this data is made up. It's all current and live. So you can see there's a £95,000 property on the screen there we could potentially look at. So there's, it's not difficult to do this. It's as easy as you make it for yourself. I would always encourage you to use this data, or this type of data, to do your due diligence on target areas, even if you're familiar with an area. So I've just done an example of a single let property, a 2-bedroom property. You can also do this sort of thing for HMOs as well. If you wanted to find the highest yielding HMO locations in an area, and we'll change HMOs in the northwest and apply, and then that should give us some areas for HMOs. And again, you can do this for asking prices or for asking rents as well. We can also do this for yield. If you just change to the postcode district rather than area, we can pull the yields in and we can look at the best yielding locations for that area. You can select, so you can do all these BL postcodes and see where the best HMO investment areas. It's BB8. No idea. Don't know anything about that area, but again, we can drill down and see that information. Now, that was fun. Let's do something even more fun. Let's go back to our area research again, and let's use this little thing, find new area, this little button up at the top. It shouldn't be as... We should probably make it a bit bigger. But let's assume you're looking for a 3-bedroom property in this example. And your budget, you don't want to be in areas where properties sell for more than 200,000. So you're going into the competitively priced areas. You want a minimum 7% yield, but you also, let's add another element. Let's put in demand over 20%. So let's focus in on those areas where the demand is above 20%. Now, the demand is a scale from 0 to 100. 0, nothing sells in that area in a month. It's unusual to see that. 100% sells in that area in a month. On average in the UK, it's about 10% demand. That's what it normally averages out at over time. So if you're going into a 20% or more demand area, you've got high demand. But also, I'm a bit funny. I kind of like to go into areas where there's a reasonable household income. So not the most difficult areas. I tend to go to areas where the average household income is over £30,000, and I'll run that search. So now I'm going to get a filtered list of 15 postcodes where that applies, where there's a yield over 7%, there's demand of over 20%, and the average household income is over £3,000. Of course, you can change these things. Go to an area where maybe it's 220, and assume you can get a bit of money off. That report again, and you should get a few more entries there. There we go. So it goes up to 19, and these are all of the postcode areas where that applies. And the beauty of data is not only is it in tabular form, you can also view it on a map as well. So you can see those locations where you've got high yield, high demand, reasonable price for a 3-bedroom property, and you can see the dotted around the UK there. We can zoom out a little bit more if you want to. There we go. So that's quite interesting because a lot of people don't realise that it's that quick to find those locations, but it is very easy to do. So I would encourage everybody to try this process, try this of analysing yield. Not only that, I mean, again, just to prove the point here, let's just go back one. I'll just show you one more thing. Let's just reset this. I really like HMOs as well, and lots of people, but nobody really knows where the best yielding HMO areas are. So we'll put HMO in. We can put price per bedroom, so multiply the number of bedrooms by the price, and that gives you the average purchase price. So let's look for areas where the average HMO is £70,000 or less. So multiply by the number of bedrooms to get the average purchase price. All right, so 70,000 or less, and a yield of at least HMO. Let's go for 12, and run that search. So there are 128 postcode areas where that applies. So a 5-bed property would be about 350,000 for an existing HMO that would yield more than 12%. But you can tweak these numbers again for the cheaper HMOs, 50,000 or less, and run that report again, and we should much lower less now. 95, still a surprising amount. Yield, let's get greedy. Let's go for 15%. This is average. Of course, every property is different. You can do better. 59 postcode areas. Oh, 17%. That'd be nice. Of course it would. And there we go again. And if you're not sure where these locations are, again, chuck it onto a map. You've got to select them, put them on a map, and see where these HMO locations are. Again, it's dynamic. You can zoom in. You can see where these HMO locations are. There's lots of them. People say that finding opportunity areas is difficult at the moment. It's not. There's plenty of locations where this is possible. So if you like that, if you like what you've seen, if you want to give this a whirl, I'll put a link in the description below that gives you access to this software if you haven't tried it before for 14 days. Plus, it'll give you a bit of money off if you continue to use it. So do check out that link, and do like and subscribe to this video so that you can get more videos like this where I'll be sharing information about how you can use this technology, this data, and these processes to help you in what is quite a difficult market at the moment with high interest rates. Help you to cut through all of that, find the opportunity, and act quickly. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in a future video.